I'm here with Gabriel of Unto Others to talk about Neverland, out September 20th on Century Media Records. This is an absolute pleasure for me to speak to you. My son and I are massive fans of the band. We
Mhm.
discovered you guys on the tour that you were with Arch Enemy and Behemoth and Napalm Records. Definitely, you were not like the others. Uh, and we came in early to the Toronto show, not knowing who Unto Others were. And we
Mhm.
left that show just massive fans of the band. So, having you here to talk to me today means more than you know. Like it really does. I I bow down. I bow
No,
down
no, no, no.
to everything that you guys do, including this record, including this record. Um, Outstanding album. So first of all, thank you. I felt like you deserved this kind of introduction because a day doesn't go by in this house that we don't talk about the band, that we don't talk about a song, that we don't mention your names out loud. So thank you very much for what you have given all of us.
Well, thank you very much, Jorge. I am not worthy of bowing yet, but
Yet.
yeah, but soon, soon, soon. But no, I appreciate it. That's really awesome. It's great to hear. I'm glad that the music is, and you made a happy times in your household and stuff. And you finding us at the concert is probably the best outcome that we could expect from opening for bands, and stuff. So it's really awesome to hear that you found us that way. And thank you.
Yeah, it's I'm a little sad, and we'll talk about it, that you guys are not going to be on that Wasp tour anymore. I mean, you guys were pretty much the only reason I was going to the show. So
Yep.
you just freed up one of my nights. That's for sure. Because now I have no reason to go. Like, we were just really going to see you guys. But let's talk about this record before we talk about that. Never Never Land. And
Yeah.
let me ask you straight off the bat, the album artwork, the title of the record, and then what's in the record. How you tie in these three different moving pieces?
Oh, they all come together separately and over a long period of time usually. This album, I was working on different artwork and then I wasn't happy with it, and we didn't have art like at the last minute. Like we were recording the Butterfly music video and we needed art like within a week. Like no artist gets you shit in a week. But our first guy fell through and I emailed Adam Burke. He's our standby go-to artist. He's done everything, every cover you've seen of ours. And it was my mistake trying to go with someone else for this record because I said, Adam, I come humbly crawling back to you for a album cover. What do you want? We'll pay whatever. Just we need a record cover. And the cherry blossom idea came from being on the Butterfly set. We went, this works great. Why wouldn't we should just do some cherry blossoms in darkness. That would be beautiful. So, and Adam just nailed it. As he does every time. And as long as he wants to keep doing our covers, I'll let him keep doing them.
Now you know. Do not. There's no point on reinventing the wheel or fix what it ain't broke.
That's right. That's right. So maybe Adam and I are destined to work with each other for the rest of our lives.
Keep going at it. When it comes to put these songs together, both musically and lyrically, do you always look at the same place for inspiration, or both music and lyrics come from completely different places depending on the song, depending on where you're at?
The lyrics will come from the song sometimes. I never write lyrics beforehand. I'll jot down ideas, but like, okay, this is a cool title or cool phrase or something. Like "Mama likes the door closed" came from that. I was just wandering around. I'm like, "Don't ever open the door. Mama likes the door closed," and I'm, stupid shit. And you're like, that could be fun. That's kind of, and then it ends up working for something later. But for every one of those, there's like 100 that don't. So yeah, I write the songs and then I'll listen to them back like 100,000 times. Write the lyrics over that, and any other ideas that come up, kind of place them over the song as well. So yeah, it's a long process. But it's like painting. It's just like painting on a canvas or something. Each song's kind of a simple blank canvas. We have 3.5 minute verse chorus kind of songs. So sometimes you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this standard format again? And something always comes around.
Is it important in that song format to ensure that the choruses are as bouncy and hooky as possible to kind of maybe offset a little bit of the darkness that surrounds them?
Um, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not ever trying to go, okay, I'm setting out right now to write the bounciest, hookiest chorus ever. I just play guitar over the riff, and if something beautiful comes out, I go, that is the chorus right there. But yeah, I'm usually aiming to have a chorus. I'm usually aiming to name the song whatever the chorus is singing, like that's usually what's going to go on. Sometimes it doesn't work that way either, and that's fine too. But yeah, I find it honestly a really fun challenge trying to write a pop song, a pop rock, pop metal song in a standard format. Um, it's much more difficult than just throwing riff, 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 riff. And if you listen to a band, even like Metallica, that's full of riffs, they're still pretty, even their long songs have a format. What they do is they pull a Rush kind of. They have the pop format, but then they'll just interject some riff, like after the first chorus, they'll throw a vocal break, or they'll extend something out longer than you think. So they just fake you out a million times, and then they throw a 4 minute bridge in, and that's why the song's 7 minutes long. And but if you analyze it and pull it apart, like Metallica just has pop songs like one after another. That's why they work. So your song has to have some kind of structure in order to drive home the point you're trying to make. And it's really important to me that songs have a purpose and a point and are saying something. Otherwise, I just call it pseudo art. I could write a million songs that are like, okay, I'm wandering through the trees in fog and darkness, and then I call it like Midnight Lament Part 7 or some shit. And people are like, well, this is really deep.
This is some really deep shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it is if you're 12. Yeah.
You mentioned the song formats and the structures. When I look at your music, there's definitely a developed DNA now with the sound of the band, with the lyrical approach. But I always feel like with every record that you guys release, you tweak things a little bit. You don't make household complete changes. You're not moving from a two-bedroom house to a five-bedroom house, but you are at the very least repainting the walls and doing certain key changes here and there that
Yeah.
allows each record to still be unto others while offering a different side of unto others. Do you worry about how much of that you're able to do before you start kind of repeating yourself? Because you all, at the same time, I'm assuming you don't want to change the DNA of the band.
Oh no, of course not. I always say I just want to be honest and authentic with everything we're doing. Um, One of the big advantages of this band, and one might say disadvantages too, sometimes, is that I write almost everything, with the exception of Butterfly on this record. Brandon and I collaborated on that. But uh, and because I write everything, I'm able to channel who I am through the music, and that's why you're seeing a slow but steady change throughout the records. It's because I'm getting older and I'm changing, and so what's coming out is being reflected in the music, right? So by the time I'm 40, I suppose I'll release my version of Load and Reload, and we'll suck, and everyone will hate us for 10 years, and then we'll have a slight comeback, and that'll be fine.
Don't forget to somehow get into Death Magnetic. You need one of those too.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Death Magnetic was, yeah, that came out when I was 17 years old, actually, and I jammed every song on that record. Like, I wanted to love it, and I still actually now I'm nostalgic if you throw one of those songs on there.
I feel the same about And Justice for All because everybody always complain about the bass
Oh,
not
dude.
being there, and it's like one of my favorite
Yeah,
Metallica albums of all
like
time.
my favorite mix, dude. I never complain about the bass. I think what they did was genius. I think Lars absolutely has known what he's done and doing throughout their entire career. I know he was behind that whole dynamic of that, and I think the mix on Justice for All is fucking awesome, and the songs are even more awesome.
On a song by
That's
song
that,
basis, I think it's their best record.
that's my favorite record. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's by far my favorite Metallica record. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm embarrassed of saying that because I always get negativity because of the whole bass, but it's
Oh,
definitely
oh yeah,
has my favorite songs.
yeah. The only song that I just kind of skip through every time is "To Live Is to Die." Um, it kind of drags for me, but the rest, I'm just fucking blown away. And "Justice for All" itself is like it's so fun to like air drum and air guitar too. Once you learn all the shifts and parts, and that live video in Seattle where the fucking Lady Liberty is like bursting apart at the end. Oh, so epic, man.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
How much does the album structure when it comes to the track listing has a role in the journey? Because you mentioned you want music that takes listeners somewhere. So I'm assuming you spend quite a bit of time putting the track listing together in order to create that path. Is that the case?
Oh yeah, yeah. With every record, I'll sit down with the songs that we've decided are going on, and I just, I play the end of like Butterfly, for example, and I go, okay, what best does this go into next? And just kind of do that for every song. I'll play the last 10 seconds and then try see how that flows into every other song, and I'll just do that until the track listing is complete. So yeah, it's important that they're presented in a certain way so the album has a flow for sure.
Do you worry at all about the overall length and the amount of songs on a record? And the reason I'm asking this is because I feel like this album specifically
Yeah,
has so many memorable tracks.
yeah,
And I feel like if the album is shorter, that sense of having memorable tracks becomes a lot more noticeable because as you get to the end, you're much quicker to go back to the beginning and listening to that memorable track multiple
yeah,
times. The length
yeah.
of the record kind of removes that a little bit. So do you worry about those aspects?
Oh no, because I know that most people don't sit down and listen to an entire record anymore, especially the kids. So the way I'm hoping people discover, as you said, the good tracks on the record, is not through listening to the entire thing at once. It's through loving one of the songs so much that you need more, and so you search for it in the rest. Because that's how I did it when I was a kid. I download individual singles, and it's like, oh, I need more from this band. You just download whatever. I mean, young people don't give a shit about what album it's on usually. They don't care. They don't know the album name. They don't know the musician's name. They don't know who I am. They just go, I like it or I don't. And then all that other stuff comes later. And, I understand that young people aren't the only fans in the world. But even as a vinyl collector myself and a music fan myself, um, if you can't listen to the whole thing, that's why there's two sides on the record, I suppose. You can stop, you just listen one side at a time.
And you mentioned the kids, so I have to ask you about when the kids get caught.
Yeah.
Is it when they get caught in with their hand in the cookie jar? Like what do you what inspire the lyrics in that song and that song title?
That one, I always wanted to write a nonsense song. Um, I wanted to write like a song like Blinded by the Light, and the Rugger Bumpy Bucker, whatever, and Mozart Ghost Cart was checking out the weather charts and shit like that. I've always loved stupid little lyrics like that. And but there is some meaning behind that song, and the general vibe that I'm taking away from it for me is it just reminds me of when I was a teenager, um, running around breaking shit and pushing over trash cans with my friends and just being an idiot and going to metal shows. And my entire purpose in life was guitar and my girlfriend and rock and roll and getting wasted and having a party. And that song reminds me of that. Like, and yeah, I guess when the kids get caught, sure. Like, I think if that was going to mean anything, it would be kind of America's fear of teenagers, or the worldwide fear of teenagers, like, oh, it's there's something wrong with the kids these days, right? If we just fix them, everything will be fine. And it's like, what are you talking about? So
And that's a thing that repeats itself with every generation because my parents said that we were fucked up, and then
yeah,
now I say that about my kid and his generation,
yeah,
and it's like a vicious cycle. You don't learn. You always
yeah.
complaining
Like
about the same
fucking
things.
in like 1810, there was some grandpa going, "These kids these days, they're just playing with hoops. We used to ride horses." You know, it's just old people and young people. That's all it is.
It's that dynamic. A song that one of my favorite songs on the record, if not my favorite song on the record, is "Suicide Today." From a lyrical standpoint, I was listening to that track and I'm thinking we live in a world where everybody gets offended super easily, where everything is skin deep, like nobody really pays attention to, they don't peel the layers to understand what an artist is trying to say or an artist is trying to do. They take everything at face value. When you're
Yeah.
putting a song like Suicide Today together and you're implying maybe sarcastically that, don't kill yourself today, you can always do that tomorrow. Do you
Yeah.
worry about how people might perceive those lyrics or might view that song?
No, not at all. Because that song's a positive song. And if anyone tried to tell me otherwise, I'd say you didn't write it. That song is, in fact, what they tell a lot of suicidal people is you can do it tomorrow. Because see, when you're in such a depressed state like that, you don't want to be helped. You're like, my problem is the world, so I don't want your help. I want to get the fuck out of here. So telling someone you can do it tomorrow brings a little bit of comfort and control into their life. But but the song itself, yeah, it's just kind of pointing out sad little things that I've noticed over time. Just that's about it. It's just the story of following the wrong philosophies in life, and bad choices can lead you to a bad life or a bad death and things like that. So I hope whoever needs to hear it can listen to it and take something from it. But yeah, for me, it was just I don't know. That song wrote itself. Wrote the lyrics in like a day.
Wow. I thought was you were able to use words like, clean up the brain splatter off the floor in a way that was so poetic. I've never
Yeah.
seen that in a song before.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, it was just the right words for there. You need some kind of imagery. And that comes from probably being a janitor for so many years. I always think about so glad I had to like clean up parks and stuff, and I'm like, I never came across a dead body, but so many of my coworkers did, and or not coworkers, but people in parks. Have found dead bodies and things like that. I'm like, I don't want to clean that shit up, like someone's got to clean it up, dude. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It always comes down to that. When it comes to your vocals, and the way you approach a record or a song vocally, um, how much of that is your natural ability, and how much of that has to do with the work and the time that we don't see, but that you put into that vocal performance?
Honestly, I don't go and practice vocals like solely very much anymore. I'll do that when I'm writing lyrics. That's about the only time I'm really practicing my vocals. I'll go to this practice space and jam back a demo and sing over it, 20, 30 times. So that's the amount of work that goes into a song. I just go, okay, what do I hear here? What needs to go here? Um, and my voice has naturally evolved, I'd say, over the years, just from all the touring and getting older. But um, the thing that's helped my voice the most and is just confidence. When I started out, everything was very like I wasn't very confident with my voice. So on the early recordings, I was very like nitpicky, and I'm kind of almost the performances are a bit flat in my opinion. Now I can just jump in a vocal booth and kind of throw it out there, and I'm very confident with what I can do, and I know what I can do, and I know my limitations.
You have such a unique vocal delivery and such a unique tone that it's warm, it's dark, but it can be cold at the same time. When you're having an argument with your wife, how many times do you resort to your singing voice to win that argument?
Oh, me and my wife, I don't think have ever yelled at each other. I think we've raised our voice slightly once in the 7 years we've been married, and maybe when we were teenagers we might have yelled at some point, but I don't remember that at this point. So no, I would never yell at my wife. That would be, I know it's cliche, but that would be a bad day for me.
I love your honesty there.
Yeah.
Do you look at anybody out there right now that could be an inspiration to what you guys are doing? Or do you feel like you're a little bit on an island in terms of the style and approach that you guys have?
Well, musically, I'm inspired by a ton of artists, of course, contemporaries, I enjoy checking out the music and stuff, but I'd say I'm more inspired. Most inspiring band to me is probably Ghost because of what he built out of something that I would have never guessed could have gotten as big as he's made it. I just I admire the way he's built that band and the way he's done things. And so yeah, for sure I'm inspired by them. But musically, I'm all over the place. I love heavy metal. I love goth, post punk, punk rock, thrash metal. Um, but yeah, my heart is in metal for sure. So that's going to remain a common thread throughout our records for all the elitists who are saying we're not metal anymore and shit because they heard Angel of the Night and whatever Butterfly and they think that we're not metal. It'll always be there. So
I can tell you from somebody who's heard the whole record more than once, there's lots of metal to be had.
yes, for sure, and there
There's
always will
lots
be.
there's
My
lots of
my favorite genre is thrash metal, like you said, and Justice for All, one of the best Metallica records. I it's the only music I think I can go and see live, and I lose my shit. Like I lose it. Like going to a thrash metal concert is one of the best experiences as for me as just as a fan. I love the way people move and just go nuts. Anytime Municipal Waste is in town, I don't miss it. And even like 2 weeks ago, I went to Seattle went to Metallica up in Seattle, and I found myself uncontrollably banging my head against my will when they were playing like Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Whiplash. I was like the happiest I've been at a concert in years. So that music will always creep in to our songs somehow. That fun.
So will we see a cameo from you at a future song from Stress Test?
I mean, perhaps if Brandon wants me in, sure. I think he sees enough of me every week at practice. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you come from that place of love for the genre, maybe he'll find you a little cameo here and there on a track. You never know.
Oh well, that's the other thing. I still thrash a little bit here in the in this band. We still got like heroines, flatlines, but yeah, I need some more thrash riffs. I think I'll do that today.
Yeah, yeah. See, there you go. See, I'm inspiring you now to
That's right. Yeah.
to bring some injustice for all riffs into your life.
Oh yeah.
And you guys had this sad announcement that you guys not going to be on this tour with Wasp.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned it was mentioned on social media that it took you guys by surprise. You guys didn't see
Yeah.
this coming.
Yeah.
How are you bouncing back from it? Because it's really short notice, and as we all know, there's a machine behind it that you guys are already revving up and preparing for the tour, and now suddenly you have to bring it to a screeching halt.
Yeah. I'm bouncing like a pumpkin. I I'm like I'm sitting here and waiting. That's all I can do. I Management and booking agent, they're looking for things for us to do. Um, there's not much I can do personally. I have to trust my team and see what they come up with for me. But yeah, I do want to play some gigs this year. I want to go play some shows in North America, Canada, US, and I hope we can get something worked out so I can go do that.
Any chance of you guys and Hoax going on a tour together?
Oh yeah, that would be yeah. That's my wife's band.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it for a while. In fact, I wanted to make that happen a few years ago on our North American headlining tour 2021, but they couldn't do it. And right now, it's like probably not anytime soon. But never say never. And it would be sweet. I would like to tour with my wife. That sounds fun as hell.
I,
So
I also discovered that band, her band, by going to a show. I went to see Amorphous. They were on tour with Amorphous. I
Oh,
never heard
nice.
of them before. I always
Yeah,
go early because I don't want to miss any band on the bill because you never know who you're
yeah,
going to discover. And
yeah,
I fell in love with that band. I was like, where have these people been all my life? Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
me discovering you guys and discovering her band, very similar, very, very similar ways and very similar outcomes. So, I
yeah.
don't know what's in the water there in Portland, but or in Oregon, but you guys are definitely cooking something there. Great music coming from that part of the world.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Oregon is yeah, it's my home. It's been my home my whole life, and I love this city for all its goods and bads. And our music scene is awesome, and our rock and metal bar scene is fucking awesome. And I just like being here. So
One last question for you. I know you're trying to get things going for the rest of 2024. You have an album to support. You want to get on the road playing shows. Uh, does it look like 2025 is going to be a better year for you guys than maybe 2024 is shipping up to be?
I would hope so. Yeah. I think we have we're kicking it off with a European tour. We're playing like Athens and Istanbul, and Istanbul will be the first time ever being there. So I'm really excited to go there. And then yeah, European tour. Then we come home. We're going to do another North American tour. We'll announce that in the coming months. And then uh, I'm hoping in summer we can get back to Europe to play some festivals in June or July. Maybe go hit download or something like that. But that's up to what offers we get. And uh, and then I imagine in winter or fall we'll do another big tour either in Europe or the States. But we'll see.
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that some of those dates will get you across the border and playing some Toronto shows. It's been a very long time since you guys played here, and I had an absolute blast watching you guys perform. So, love to see you guys back again in Toronto.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's always a pleasure coming to Toronto. We played like shit, man. I remember playing some bar there. I think it was called like Fuel or Revolver or Ammo or I can't remember the bar. It was some small bar. But yeah, I love coming there and then up to the big venues and stuff. Because yeah, I got some buddies in Skullfist up there.
Oh, you're friends with JJ?
JJ and Johnny, I know the best, but even Zach, he's really cool. I love that guy. And Casey, I haven't had as much time to talk to, but yeah, JJ and Johnny Nesta, uh, those guys stayed at my house for a couple days, and I showed them around Portland back in 2015, and they're fucking awesome. I love those
Yeah,
guys.
JJ is a good friend of mine as well. Like we hang out quite a bit at shows. Actually, this year we hang out at Inferno together
Yeah,
in Norway. So he's definitely one of the good ones out of Toronto. So see, maybe you can get them to play a show. I can't even remember the last time Skullfist played a show here.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure they'll throw something around soon, but yeah, just
Yeah,
great dudes. Great dudes.
they need your inspiration. Not only to be as prolific in playing some shows, but also with music. Those guys they take huge breaks in between records. At least it feels for the fans. It feels like they take
Forever.
forever between records. I'm always busting JJ's balls about that. He does more shows with his side bands than he does with Skullfist.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why he has the side bands.
maybe I've just answered my own question. That's I think what just happened here right now. Gabriel, thank you very much for you to take the time today to talk to me about the record, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you very much, and all the best with Never Neverland out September 20th on Century Media. Phenomenal record by Unto Others. Not that I was expecting anything less.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all the awesome and insightful questions. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.